Hey there, welcome to my review of Split Second, a 1992 sci-fi action thriller. It's more of a sci-fi thriller than really an action movie, but there are some, pretty decent bits of action in the film. It is a little bit slow-paced. I mean, it does start off pretty much more getting you introduced to these characters and building up atmosphere and building up a little bit of suspense, and then it has a pretty rousing climax. So if you're expecting a film that is non-stop action, you'll probably be disappointed because Split Second isn't really one of those movies. But I like the fact that it's its own sort of unique blend of these different elements. It really adds to its uniqueness, so to speak. The film stars Rutger Hauer as Harley Stone, who's this really badass character, one of my all-time favorite roles by Rutger Hauer. It's really hard for me to pick between Harley Stone and his character from Blind Fury. So when I think about what's my favorite Rutger Hauer film, it kind of goes back and forth between this one and Blind Fury. I really enjoy both those movies immensely, and so it's kind of hard for me to kind of pick which one is better. But I really enjoy Split Second, and this is a movie that deserves so much better on DVD. I made this custom DVD. I mean, I just made this today, actually. I didn't make this cover art. This is actually from a German release, I believe, that somebody scanned and I used online. But this is a lot better. This is the best quality cover art I could find online. The HBO video cover art, which I like a lot more. Not saying that this is terrible. I'm just saying I like the HBO video, the original movie poster, a little bit more, is in really poor quality. The scan is terrible, and the Everscan is just really dirty. So it's like dirty scan with a dirty case, or a scan with some horrible picture quality. So I was like, I'll go with this one. But really what I'd like is I'd like to have the HBO DVD, but I guess I'll stick with having this Laserdisc, which is still really cool. And there you have the cover art, which I prefer, with the tagline, he's seen the future. Now he has to kill it. He'll need bigger guns. Now, this tagline, yeah, it's really not the future. There's nothing to do about, I guess, kind of. But, yeah, good luck finding the DVD of this cheap, especially the American release. Good luck finding it cheap. You're probably going to have to end up paying an arm and a leg and $100 extra, and that doesn't even include shipping. This is an incredibly hard to find movie on DVD, and on eBay you can easily find a DVD for $100 or over $100. Amazon is pretty much the same too. If you want Split Second on DVD, you're probably going to have to fork out $70, $80 to $100 just for one copy of it on DVD in the US. So you're better off, if you like the film, getting it from overseas or making your own DVD like what I just did, because neither of the versions have any features. And there's one that sort of has a widescreen version, but it's still kind of just a full screen that's stretched to widescreen. It's not a genuine 16:9 widescreen transfer, or what is it, 1:35, or I really don't know all the specifics. All I know is 16:9 and like was it 4:9? I think it's or it's 4.3. 4.3 is full frame. But anyway, yeah, for some reason this movie is just incredibly hard to find on DVD in the US. It's never had another re-release after the HBO release, and for some reason it just continuously keeps falling under the cracks. And when it comes to DVDs or Blu-rays that are going to be re-released with special features and stuff in the United States, this is totally something that Scream Factory should get their hands on. It's right up there with I Come in Peace. If you like something like I Come in Peace, you'll probably enjoy yourself with Split Second. Another film that falls under the cracks that's similar to this is Death Machine, which is another movie that deserves a better DVD. So both those movies, for some reason, fall under the cracks with distributors and releasing companies, and just have not gotten the proper justice they deserve on DVD in the United States. Even overseas, I mean, overseas Death Machine you can get as widescreen transfer, with pretty decent quality and with the extended, cut scenes. But Split Second, you really honestly, you got full screen or you got kind of widescreen. And this is a movie that deserves a Blu-ray release. This deserves features. This deserves something. And I don't know why it's taking so long. It has a 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. It did bomb when it came out. I mean, it did not do that well. It definitely could have done better. I mean, it didn't have that big of a budget. It had a $7 million budget, and they used it really well. At least I thought so anyway. And, not the damn video game. That's not what I'm looking for. Google. There's a video game. Is that what you're looking? No, I'm not looking for the video game post-Split Second. Anyway, the film was made for an estimated budget of about $7 million and only made about $5 million at in the box office. I guess it got a lot of criticism. I don't know why. Maybe they saw a completely different movie than I saw, but whatever. What's interesting, interesting enough, there's a connection between this and Death Machine. Stephen Norrington, who would go on to direct Death Machine, he acted as a creature effects designer and an FX supervisor on this film. Split Second was shot in 8 weeks. It had the pre-production for the film only lasted 21 days. And despite some decent word of mouth and an exciting ad campaign, Split Second underperformed at the U.S. box office due to the fact that it opened during the weekend of the L.A. riots. Which is pretty bad timing, but there's no way they could have prepared for that. And I guess also the director, Tony Maylam, didn't direct the entire movie. He was fired before the movie was finished, and Ian Sharp came in and directed the sequences of the final showdown on the Metro. So I guess they thought, hey, we need some action in this movie that is marketed as an action movie with Rutger Hauer versus some big alien monster thing. We need action, and you're not giving it to us. Which I gotta say, hey, I mean, I don't know. He was probably, he's proved himself to be pretty capable with the earlier scenes of brief moments of action, Tony Maylam. So I really wouldn't understand why he wouldn't be able to shoot the same sort of sequences at the end. I don't know what's really going on with why he was fired, and that's another reason why I make an interesting DVD or Blu-ray. Commentary of Tony Maylam. What happened? What happened on shooting the film? Split Second. Why were you fired? And that kind of thing. Probably something that'd be tough to talk about, but you kind of get, it would be an interesting story to tell. The film also has some deleted scenes. Some scenes were deleted from all VHS and DVD versions of the movie. These include additional dream and murder sequences, along with the introduction of Durkin's girlfriend, who's credited in every version of the film as a character of Robin, played by actress Roberta Eaton, even though her scene is only in old TV versions of the movie, which reportedly included some of the ever deleted scenes. In Eaton's deleted scene, her character is angry at Durkin because he wasn't home for a long time, so both of them decide to catch up. And also Kim Cattrall in this film, she still has her hairdo with the shaved-off sideburns from Star Trek VI Undiscovered Country. This indicates that the shooting of Split Second happened shortly after completion of Star Trek VI. Now, that's sadly about it for trivia that I found online. That's really about it. I mean, I would love to know more about the making of this movie, about how they did the creature design, of how how it was to play the killer, Stewart Harvey-Wilson, who had to be in this, probably an uncomfortable suit. I would be interesting. I think it really would be a cool movie to get features for. Now, the movie, I think, is a great film. I think it's one of the most underrated sci-fi thrillers of the 90s. There's a few people that talk about it, but this deserves a little bit more than that. This deserves to be talked about a lot more than just a little bit, in my opinion. I mean, this is a really excellent amount of atmosphere, a great performance by Rutger Hauer, an equally solid performance by Alistair Duncan as Rutger Hauer's character's partner, Dick Durkin. Harley Stone is a badass in this. I love the unique quirks they added to the character, where he eats chocolate and he drinks coffee. He doesn't drink alcohol. He drinks coffee and he eats chocolate. And he also, of course, his name is Harley Stone, so he's a big fan of Harley-Davidson motorcycles. He even has one parked in the middle of his kitchen in his apartment, which is really nice little bit nice touches, for the film. And there's also really a little bit of kind of underwritten, kind of under underground satire in this film, where if you watch it again, you just pay attention to the signs in the movie. They're pretty funny, actually, the signs and stuff that are listed throughout the police station. And also the idea of it taking place in the future. Yeah, I know, it's 2008. It takes place in the year 2008 in London. And yeah, I know, we're way past the year 2008, and our streets aren't full of water. Well, sometimes they are, but there's not mass flooding everywhere. I know that. But the thing is, I really like that idea, because heavy rainfall has flooded large areas of London in this future, which when this movie came out in 1992, 2008 was still a future. Now it's not a future, but it was back when the movie was made, so you got to keep that in context. And anyway, so I like the idea of the heavy rainfall, because that adds a nice bit of atmosphere to the film. And I never really heard of that. You don't really see that very often. In the future, it's usually a desolate wasteland. Here, there's just a shit ton of water everywhere, and you have to drive through it, or sometimes you have to, in order to get around some parts of London, you got to get in a hovercraft. I think it's actually an interesting idea. Now, the film has this slower pace, but I think it works in the film's favor. It's not really that long of a movie. It's only 90 minutes. I think it goes by really quick. The thing is, it works with the slow pace because I love these characters. I love Rutger Hauer. I love Neil Duncan. Alistair Duncan is his actual name. He changed it to Neil for his short but brief career in Hollywood, which is really too bad, because I think Alistair Duncan is really great in this. And his character evolves at the end in a way that I think is, near the end, but I think it's really clever. Instead of keeping the whole good cop, bad cop angle, Rutger Hauer is the badass, and, Neil Duncan, Alistair Duncan, Dick Durkin is the nerdy wimp, who's by the book and follows the rules. As when he starts seeing some serious shit, and some crazy shit starts happening to him, he becomes more and more like Harley, which I find that to be a really unique take on that whole buddy cop sort of angle. Instead of being the complete opposite, he becomes almost exactly like him, which I find to be really cool. The film also has, I think it has a great underrated soundtrack by Wendy Carlos, Francis Haynes, and Stephen W. Parsons. They take the classic Moody Blues song, Nights in White Satin, and they use it and underscore it throughout the film in this instrumental score, which is just haunting and just works like a charm. And then there was also a really underrated cover of that song, which was I'm gonna find the artist, because I really do like this cover of the song. Actually, I like the cover version of this Moody Blues song from Split Second more than the original version of the song. Is it going to give me who did it? Okay, here it is. It's composed by Justin Hayward, and new vocals by Colin Blunstone. And so you have Colin Blunstone has the score. I think Colin Blunstone, he sings the version, and a little bit of the instrumental stuff. A little bit of the score from the film is written into the song as well, so it adds this haunting vibe to an already haunting song. I really think it's a very underrated movie, enough as it is, and the soundtrack is equally underrated. It adds to the atmosphere of the film. It really works really well, and it's really, really a great soundtrack. Great score, and a solid cover of a classic Moody Blues song, Nights in White Satin, which they retitled it as Nights in White Satin with a K instead of an N. And other interesting sort of stuff with retitles is Split Second has alternate titles in other countries. It is known as Detective Stone in one country, which which is okay, interesting. And it was also, I think, one of the original titles for the film was Killer Instinct, which I guess they changed it not to be confused with the video game. Which the main this creature right here does look like one of the Killer Instinct characters. So it kind of does look like that. And it also reminded me a lot of Judge Death. Judge Death from the Judge Dredd comics. So I looked at it as a combination of Venom from Marvel Comics, because it did remind me of Venom, you know, with the teeth and everything. A combination of Venom and Judge Death, because Judge Death has the whole thing where you don't see his eyes. And I know the DVD and the Laserdisc cover art add these sort of beady red eyes. That's really not... I don't really remember ever seeing any red eyes or beady red eyes on the creature at all. It has this sort of weird-looking visor. But that was probably, that was the best way they could use whatever money they had for creature effects. And they just said, hey, we want the guy to be able to see, so we'll just incorporate the visor into the design. Which I thought was fine. I really did. And I like the aspect of the film where it starts out, it's like a typical sort of cop thriller with a killer, but the killer's a monster. There's a serial killer on the loose in London in this future, and it's ripping people's hearts out. And instead of it being just a normal guy, it's like a 7-foot-tall beast. I find that to be a really unique take on it. It's like, hey, it's kind of like Predator, but not really. But I like the idea. And it had enough of gore at points. There's one shot where Rutger Hauer walks in a room and there's just blood everywhere, and then you see this woman and her chest is ripped open, her heart is missing. And so it could have used a little bit more gore. Like, maybe a scene where the monster rips somebody's head off or something, or slashes somebody's arm off a little bit. But I understand they were working with a tight budget, $7 million. And also that the director, I guess he was watched like a hawk because eventually he was fired. So he was watched by a hawk. He was really watched by the studio. So eventually he was fired. So I understand they were working with some tight constrictions. But for what it is, I really highly enjoy this movie. And mainly it is because there's just so many... It's really well written by Gary Scott Thompson. He has these really punchy, really fun bits of dialogue for the characters. And also, the whole pacing of the film, the slower pacing works. The direction by Tony Maylam has this really great sort of bit of atmosphere. I like the setting of the film, too. And this, flooded London in the future. He really does a great job, utilizing this dark lighting, and he definitely was inspired by Blade Runner, and you can see sort of a Blade Runner influence in this film, and it works. I mean, why, if you're going to learn from, any type of cinematography, why not learn from one of the best? One of the best films with one of the best, moments of cinematography in Blade Runner. And Split Second does that. There are some definitely Blade Runner moments in the beginning that are, really nice to see. And yeah, there's a few nudity, so you do get some tits. Like, that's really not the most important thing, but there's some nudity. And but maybe I really like it for the idea. I really love the film for the idea, and for Rutger Hauer and Alistair Duncan. Those characters are great. They play off of each other really well. Kim Cattrall does a good job as Michelle, Rutger Hauer's love interest in the film. But I'm not going to say she was a standout, but she did a solid job for what she was asked to do. Now, I also like the idea that this creature has a past with Harley. I like the way that it flashes back to with black and white, and they flash back to Harley's past with a partner that he had before Dick Durkin, who got killed by this creature in a split second. He's just walking in the sewer, and then all of a sudden he disappears, and then Rutger Hauer's calling for his partner, and then he feels something scratch him on his shoulder, and then he wakes up from this this nightmare, which is actually based on a true story. His friend actually got sucked under the water by this thing. And I like that it's called Split Second, because this creature It literally it's people are like, how do of course people criticize this movie like, how, oh come on, how do people not see a 7 foot tall monster in a tight enclosed space? Well, it's ridiculous. The thing is, it doesn't matter how tall this creature is. It's fast. It's faster than we are. It's faster than it's as fast as a blink of an eye. That's why it's called split second. It's like bang, it's so fast, it's in a split second, it's gone, it's out of there. And that's pretty horrifying when you think about it. You could be in a room, a crowd of people, the thing could rip your head off, run away. It's like the Flash of monsters, pretty much. It's the Flash of creatures. It's just really, really quick. And you think you got it, but you don't. And of course, in the end of the film, they had to slow it down a little bit so you actually are able to kill the thing. But still, I like the idea, and I like the way it's handled enough early on that I'm willing to let it slide, that it kind of slowed down. Well, it slowed down a little bit in the end anyway because it got blown up. So I guess you could kind of see that. It's wounded, it's hurt, so we don't know what kind of healing factor it has. And I was fine with no character development with this creature. I was fine. I didn't get the backstory of how this creature was created and what happened, and this creature was this. I mean, the kill, I like how the murders seem to be linked to the lunar cycle. The killer has multiple recombinant DNA strands because it actually absorbs the DNA of its victims. And so that's another sort of thing that is confusing. Like, oh, we got it, but this guy's dead. So the guy who died killed these people? I don't buy that. So it's really an interesting sort of thing. I mean, it's literally untouchable. You can't pin a crime on this thing because first off, it's a monster that rips people's hearts out. But also, if you tried to, the fingerprints that are left at the scene of crime would just lead to the guy that the monster killed. So it's really, or gal or whoever. I mean, it's really interesting sort of dynamic that goes on, and I think the film handles it pretty well. Movie starts out with just Rutger Hauer on his own, trying to stop this thing. I like how gung-ho he is about it. He's like, I'm going to catch you. I will find you, you son of a bitch. I will find you. Like that kind of attitude. And then he gets assigned this rookie Parker. Pull Peter Parker. Anyway, yeah, kind of. Hey, this one second monster also kind of looks like the lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man. But anyway, I like this creature a lot more, though. But anyway, so, he gets this rookie partner, Dick Durkin, played by Alistair Duncan, who's just a complete fop at the start. And then, like I said earlier, as the film goes on, he starts seeing some serious shit. And I really love the quotes that they have between each other. Like the whole... I mean, you even have fun stuff where Stone... In the beginning of the movie, he walks up to a barking Rottweiler, and he takes out its badge and he shoves it right in front of the Rottweiler's face, and he says, "Police, dickhead." I mean, this is really a lot of fun. The lines and quotes in this movie, and the moment where you have Stone is talking. Stone he's got Durkin by his necktie and he's dragging him around, and he's like, "Have you been following me?" And then Thrasher's like, "Damn right he has. Paranoid people with guns are a menace to society." And then Stone talks to Thrasher while pulling Durkin forward by his necktie. He's like, "You'd be paranoid too if you had a dipshit like this following you." Yeah, a lot, fun lines like that. And I really liked the line, of course. I really love the scene, actually, before, this line, where, and of course, around the same sort of time, a giant rat shows up. And, Stone just blows it away in the middle of the police precinct, which I thought was pretty decent effect. And then later, that comes back into play later, where Dick Durkin does the same thing, and he shoots a rat in Stone's kitchen. And he's like, I saw a rat, so I shot it. You shot my kitchen. That's what. I missed the rat. And then Stone holds up the tail of the rat, not attached to much else. You mean this one? Cool! Cool, I killed a rat. And actually, the whole thing that I mentioned earlier, the dream sequence where you have Stone's partner gets pulled under the water, that gets referenced later in the film as sort of a fake out moment where Duncan is going down into the sewers with Stone, and he falls under the water, and you're like, oh no, and then you find it was just like a hole under the water, like there was like a pocket, and he fell into it, and then of course Rutger Hauer's like, don't you ever do that to me again, you dickhead. So that's not really what he said. You didn't call him a dickhead there, but you get my drift. You get the drift. Anyway, the scene that I really like is when Stone is noticing. There's other bits of really cool scenes. Like there's a weird scene where Stone is literally just laying in the police, the body, the outline of the dead body in this crime scene and just thinking, which I think is an interesting choice. And then the scene which I really like is where you first sort of see the creature in action. And it really is moving in a split second. This is a pretty short scene, but it's short but sweet. And they start, Stone goes in this morgue and he sees like blood everywhere, blood's dripping from the ceiling. And he looks at this morgue sheet, this plastic sheet, and he sees this message that says, for you. Because and the whole idea is that somehow Stone is psychically sort of connected to this creature, so he can feel it. He can feel, in his blood and in his bones and in his brain whenever this creature is on the loose killing people, which is gotta suck. Like, it's so fast that by the time you get there, you're already too late. And that's the soul sort of thing, that this is the whole thing that's eating away at Stone's soul and destroying him from the inside out. This knowledge that this creature, this beast is out on the loose, ripping people's hearts out, and people don't believe me. They think I'm crazy, and I know it because I can feel it. I can hear its heartbeat. And that actually was also really cleverly put into the film's audio mix. You hear a heartbeat. You hear this, heartbeats, sound throughout almost the entire movie, which I thought added even more atmosphere to this movie, and made it all the more great to watch. And I also like the fact that they show Stone's vulnerable, because there's a moment where he actually he's hyperventilating, and he has to get taken to an ambulance, and they have to inject him in the neck with something to calm him down, which you rarely ever see that happen in this type of movie. The person is untouchable. They don't get freaked out, and I like that. I like that, little bit of extra touch to Stone's character. Now, what I'm getting at is the scene. He sees the message that says "for you," and he's gotten other messages before, because the creature just kills people, and then he just toys with him, and I like that too. He just screws with Rutger Hauer's character, and you can see why he's paranoid. This creature just messes with him. It'll just break into his house and just rearrange shit for the fun of it. It'll spy on his girlfriend that's in the shower and then leave and then come back later and scratch her. And it's like there's not much you can do. This thing moves in a split second. You're not fast enough to get to it, and it's just fucking with him. And there's a moment where it just hides and watches him drive away, and then it just slices the crap out of a police van, either his van or someone else's van. It's like this creature just messes with him and leaves these messages and sends him a box with a heart in it to the police precinct. He goes into the scene of the crime and the first murder that's shown in the film in this like strip club, and there's a message on the wall that's written in the mirror that's written in blood that says "I'm back." It just doesn't end. Like, I guess he thought it stopped, but now it started again, and it's the way it's starting again now when the events when the film starts. The movie starts when it starts all over again. And then I like how Dick Durkin starts figuring out about it's a lunar cycle, because he looks up above on the police precinct wall. There's this message, just weird twisted message written in blood, and it's like a zodiac symbol, and like a symbol of some, not really. So I think it's a zodiac. It could not be the zodiac. It could be. It's an astrological symbol, and I'm like, that's pretty messed up. It just paint some blood on shit. Here's a symbol for you. And then later in the film, this is the moment I was talking about. I really like where the blood. He sees the message for you, and then he hears something. He can hear it. He can feel it in the room, and you start seeing the ceiling kind of bend, and then out of nowhere, the creature drops through the ceiling. And then Dick Durkin and Harley Stone take out their guns, and some really nice design on the weapons in this movie. And they just start shooting at this creature, and it's just running so fast past these plastic sheets, which are in the morgue, and just shoot through the sheets. And Durkin's like, I think I got it. I think I got him. And this is when, after, he realizes, like, this is some serious shit. I think I got it. I saw it. And I think I got it, but I don't think he did. He just shot one of the morgue blood bags or whatever that were one of the blood bags that was in the morgue. Even if he did get it, it didn't seem like it hurt it much. And then it just rips a hole through the wall faster than you could even consider, faster than even rips a hole through the wall faster than you even comprehend it. Like, I couldn't comprehend my thoughts there. And then it just runs off. And then of course Durkin's just shocked. And that's the moment where he just starts to be more like Stone. He's getting paranoid and freaked out. And he's all like, we need to get bigger guns. Big fucking guns! This is like great lines of dialogue like that. And then, that's where he ends up looking at, he connects it to the lunar cycle. And then actually, the creature starts fucking with Dick Durkin and grabs him one time and just carves this message, like that carves a symbol on his chest. It's a good makeup effect too. Just carves this fucking symbol in his chest. Basically, it's a map. Come and get me, motherfucker. That's basically what the creature is saying. Come and get me. And they figure it out. They figure out that this message is sort of a sign to where the creature is going to be and where it's taken Rutger Hauer's girlfriend, because it just stole her like nothing. I mean, this thing is really honestly pretty fucking terrifying. In a split second, it can just kill your ass, or it can steal someone you love and take it somewhere. It actually is honestly like the perfect killer. It's just so fast that there's no way you can catch it or stop it before it does its next kill, because it just moves in a split second. And at that whole scene where Dick Durkin thought he shot it, he's like, and Stone's like, did you see him? That wasn't a him. That was a fucking it. So. And then even, other fun lines of dialogue where Stone is even like, the only thing we know for sure is that he's not a vegetarian. Talking about the creature. Talking about the killer. And then Durkin starts drinking coffee too, like crazy, and eating chocolate, just like Harley. And then they go in, and they meet with this guy, meet with Thrasher, and Thrasher's like, "Are you telling me there's something running? Are you telling me there's something running around loose in the city, ripping out people's hearts and eating them so he can take their souls back to hell?" And Dick Durkin's like, "Looks that way." And Stone's like, "Hallelujah." So he's like, he's finally gotten it. And then I really love this line where they end up going in the sewer, London Underground, to find this creature, and so Harley can get back his woman, played by Kim Cattrall. Dick Durkin's like, I don't think this thing thinks it's Satan. I don't think this thing thinks it's Satan. I think this thing is Satan. And Stones has this badass one-liner. He's like, well, Satan is in deep shit. So, I mean, that what kind of fun you're into when you hear lines like that. And then you get the climax, which I really like, in the Underground, London Underground. You meet up with Michael J. Pollard, who gets killed by the creature off screen. And I really like the atmosphere and nice shots. Like, there's an underwater sort of Jaws POV, like creature POV shot from underneath the water before he ends up jumping out and trying to grab Kim Cattrall before Dick Durkin ends up saving her. And I like this really creepy scene where Harley's looking around, looking for the creature. I also like the scene where the creature's chasing after Kim Cattrall, and it's in this abandoned subway car, and it's like uses its long arms, and it's just shredding through the top of the subway car, chasing after her. Like, its arm and its clawed hand is just chasing after her. I like that shot. And then I like the sequence where Rutger Hauer goes and to look for the creature in one area of the underground, and it shows up right behind him, and it just starts putting its clawed fingers, right in front of his face, and just starts caressing his face and all kinds of weird shit. And it takes his glasses off. And I also like the touch that the film had earlier, where Harley thinks that the creature, he can feel it, that the creature's in his apartment, is going after his girlfriend, and he goes in there, and the creature starts shooting at him with a shotgun. Of all things, this killer is like some mutant creature thing, 7-foot tall monster, rips people's hearts out, but it's also using a shotgun to shoot at Harley, which I thought was an interesting touch. How often do you ever see that? It was like the image of a predator using a shotgun. Instead of Harrigan shooting it, and it's actually a pretty nice touch. And then you going back to the climax, you have that creepy scene where the creature uses his claws in front of Harley's face. And then Harley gets knocked down, and Harley tries to shoot it, but he runs out of ammo. And of course, this is a fun scene too. Even before they go underground, they have this load up scene where they're going into the armory and picking up all this stuff. Thrasher's like, "How many weapons are you carrying besides this cannon?" Stone's like, "An MP-15. Thrasher's like, "What else?" "Glock 50. Thrasher's and an A3 assault shotgun. If that's not paranoid, I don't know what the fuck is. I'm surprised you don't have a grenade launcher." "I couldn't get a permit." So I thought that was pretty cool. And so they're using kind of like miniguns in this end battle with the train, the underground, subway train, underwater type, run not underwater, but full of water, so to speak. And they're shooting at, and his gun isn't working. Duncan shows up just in time, drops a bomb into the subway car, and of course, Stone's like, "Just in time." Thanks. And he jumps out the window, and the whole car explodes with the creature in it. And Rutgers, gets to snog Kim Cattrall. That is actually pretty, I actually like that. It's just like real quick, just like, let me kiss you real quick. Let's get this over with while the whole thing is exploding. And the creature comes back out, it's still alive, and faces off with Stone, and it's like manhandling him, just throwing him around all over the place. And then it's spending too much time trying to fuck with him, so Stone takes the advantage and punches it in the chest and rips its fucking heart out. I mean, that's how you fucking do it. Rips its fucking heart out. And then Duncan and Michelle come up with these miniguns and just annihilate the thing, just turn it into just a pile of meat. And then I love this scene. It's really well shot. Rutger Hauer takes out his gun, and he's holding this still beating heart of this creature who killed his partner and has just wreaked havoc all across London. And he takes the gun and points it at the still beating monster heart. It says, "Sweet dreams," and then just blows it. The fucking Kingdom Come, blows it to pieces all over the subway car's wall. And I really like that. I mean, it adds to the uniqueness of the film. How often does that happen in a climax? He rips out the creature's fucking heart and blows it away with the gun. I mean, that is something else. I mean, that's unique. I haven't seen that since. I've never seen that in another movie again. So, and then it ends with them escaping, getting out of it just fine. They, defeated the creature and blew it to fucking Kingdom Come. Harley blew its fucking heart to pieces. And that's Split Second. Split Second, I think, is an excellent movie. Great flick. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's on YouTube. So you can check it out there, or you can find it online somewhere, or if you're lucky, find it on DVD for cheap. I mean, that would make my day if I go to the pawn shop that has $2 DVDs and find Split Second for $2. I'd be like, hallelujah. But anyway, but for the time being, I'm fine with this that I just made with the DVD rip and my Laserdisc of the film. But anyway, yeah, I really love Split Second. I love the creature design of that monster too. Great movie, kick-ass flick. If you haven't seen it yet, you should give it a look, especially if you're a fan of Rutger Hauer. If you're a fan of Death Machine, Predator, that type of stuff, you'll probably get some enjoyment out of Split Second. Like I said, though, it's a little bit of a slower pace. It's a little bit more of a slow burn. But it has enough action. It has some really good bits of, get some bits and pieces of action at the end. But the rest of it's really good, really solid build-up. Great fun lines of dialogue with great characters that you really enjoy and really like. And, yeah, I thought it was a pretty fast-paced film. I didn't find it boring. I didn't find it slow. I never did. Even when I rented it on VHS for the first time, I didn't find it that way. I enjoyed it immensely then, and I still enjoy it immensely now. Anyway, I don't really know what to say about Split Second. It was a rated at 5 stars. I give it 5. I don't find anything wrong with the movie. I really enjoy the film. I find it to be a really underrated movie that deserves a lot better on DVD and Blu-ray. It isn't even, I mean, I heard the Moontrap guys are going to release it, but they did a terrible job with the transfer. The guys from Germany. So, but who knows? If they release it, then maybe all films will get the rights, just like they did with Moontrap, and they're doing their own remaster, which is great. But anyway, so hopefully maybe they'll do it for Split Second as well, and maybe you throw in some features too. But anyway, thanks for watching my review of Split Second, and I will see you guys later. See ya.